This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Too Old to Game, the show on MVP Network where we talk about being old and gaming. Like, what's more obvious than the title? I am Dave Oster, your fear-filled host. I'm joined by Mark Weber.
Dubs and Ease.
And the original man-child himself, Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And today we're going to be talking a bit about Sony crossplay. They're open up. They're finally cracking into the root of the problem. You know, people have only been complaining about this for, I don't know, 4 months, 3 months. It's been a pretty big problem ever since the Switch acknowledged, Fortnite's a thing and let's do it. We'll get into that in a minute. But before we do, I want to take a quick minute to run through a little bit of housekeeping. If you want to support us, if you want to be awesome, you can go ahead and comment down below, sub. You can check us out on our iTunes, which is definitely live now. I lied for like the first 8 weeks of this, I'm pretty sure, and said we were there.
You didn't lie. You were just talking in the future.
Yeah, I was just post-stating it because I assume like people are, we'll listen to it later, So yeah, check us out on iTunes. Hit us up with 5 stars. If you want to support us even more than that, you can go to Patreon for Most Valuable Podcasts. And if you hit that $10 tier, you can join us on this episode. Not this episode, because that'd be like weird
be
time.
Awesome if they could.
That'd be like a time thing. Like, I don't know, maybe.
Quantum Leap.
Not Quantum Leap. God, that was such a bad show. It'd be a time loop. But you could join us on a episode of Too Old to Game or any other MVP podcast. All right, boys. Sony has opened it up. They are saying they're going to allow crossplay for select third-party content. They haven't clarified as far as anything yet. Basically, the blog post that Sony released said, following a comprehensive evaluation process, SIE has identified a path towards supporting cross-platform features for the select third-party content. We recognize PlayStation 4 players have been eagerly awaiting an update. We appreciate the community's continued patience as we've navigated through this issue to find a solution. Basically, we knew this was possible because guess what? Last generation, Sony admitted, let's do this Xbox, and Xbox was like, nah, we got the market share.
Yeah.
You go away. And now it's flipped.
Yeah.
But now we finally hit that cross-section where it's like, it makes sense for everyone. There was enough community backlash against Sony where, this was definitely a problem. So I think it's about time. Mark, what do you think?
Well, I think that this is one of those times where Sony says it's difficult to do something or impossible to do something and then prove that it's not impossible, just like everybody thinks. Looking at, changing your username would be one of those ones where it's just so hard to do. We just can't possibly do it.
I'm going to be Polish apostle forever, man.
It's just not possible. Unless, we probably did this one thing that would make it totally possible. But anyways, to put that out there, because I know some people are saying exactly that. You can do this, but you can't do that.
Yep.
But for this, this is great in the sense of this is what we all want. We all want to get to that point where it doesn't matter what system you have. You can play with people on PC, Xbox, Switch. You can play with anybody, any game. It eliminates the whole, well, I have to get Xbox because my friends have Xbox and I want to play with my friends. You can get whichever one you want, which is good and bad for the companies. Good because then anybody can just get what they want, but bad because then they don't have that pressure of, hey, if we really lock up this market over here, then everybody's going to have to get it because, that's just how you have to do it. There's really no downside to this. This is great for the future of gaming.
Well, like you said, it takes away let's look at Fortnite, because that's the one people are talking about. If I want to play just Fortnite and that's all I want to play, I can get any system and I can play it. Now the conversation becomes like, if you're picking out a system, all right, which one has the most exclusives? Like, for example, if you really like Spider-Man and wanted to play Spider-Man, you're not going to get an Xbox. If you want to play Gears of War or Forza, is that what it's called?
Forza.
I'm a Gran Turismo guy, so I don't care about that one. But if you want that, all right, I'm going to get Xbox. So that's where the discussion then goes to
playing any car racing game.
No, I used it.
Honestly, they were weirdly addictive.
Gran Turismo.
Juiced was the best.
Yeah, Juiced was the best.
I just can't see
racing for pink slips.
I just can't see you sitting there and being like, I
Crash Bandicoot Racing too, man.
There you go.
Well, if you get something like that or like Diddy Kong Racing, that was the best ever.
You get a little bit of that crossover flavor, yeah.
Yeah,
it's not a true racing game.
That's one thing, but sitting there, that was one of the first games I got on PlayStation 2 was whichever Gran Turismo was out at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, this sucks. I don't like this at all. I just don't like racing games. So like I got it and I was super disappointed because it was like the second game I owned and that was like it.
I had the soundtrack to Gran Turismo 2 like memorized. I've played. I logged so many hours into that game. It was ridiculous. But looking at the potential games, obviously Fortnite's the big one. That's what sort of kicked this all off because of the account locking problem when you got a Switch. You had a pre-existing PS4 account with Epic Games. Epic Games? I feel like
Epic.
You couldn't do it. It was like, well, you either have to have a brand new account if you want to play on your Switch. That was a total fuck you to the fans of the game and to the entire community. So it's wonderful that they've opened this up, and we're hearing rumors about what games could be there. Whether it is a game like
Call of Duty.
Well, Rocket League was the first one because that seemed like the easiest.
Well, it's free to play.
Right. So it was the Rocket League, and then I think it was something else. But yeah, no, it's. I think that there's a lot of potential for it, but they have to be very careful about it. I still think that you can't just greenlight and be like, we're going to go out of our way and spend dev time to like engineer this so every game works this way.
I just don't understand why any popular game that has an online following, think about any Call of Duty, any Battlefield, Battlefront, any sports game. There's no reason why any of those games should not be crossplay. Those games should all be crossplay because they are popular enough and have enough of a community that the investment should be made for that. And I totally understand saying, any dev time or things like that, but I really don't see a good argument for why you shouldn't go ahead and make it cross for everything, especially for developers. Developers of these games and the publishers should push Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo to say, no, you make this crossplay because we want more people playing it. If more people are able to play with their friends, they're going to play this game longer. If you're able to do that, if you have more community to play with, if you can play with your cousin that you never see, but he's got a Nintendo, and you've got a PlayStation 4, so finally you can connect, you're going to do that. So, sure, the dev time might be an issue, but really, I don't see any reason why this isn't something that should be pushed forward, especially for, once again, just the future of gaming.
Yeah.
This makes such a big difference for what companies are able to do in the future.
Yeah. And Ricky, I want to know from you, though, because you're a guy who has been a staunch PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
You don't touch the Xbox.
No, and I never
None of
will.
the Xbone.
Yeah.
But are there any games over there that you kind of like, I'd like to give that a shot if this opens up?
For me, no, there's not. Like,
Really?
Gears of War has always been, I was
going to say.
Gears of War, and, there was Halo, where it's like, I guess if I had an Xbox, I would play it, but
both were good games.
That's where everything comes down to now, where now that we, with crossplay, the only thing I'm thinking about that might be a problem is the Nintendo Switch, because if I'm seeing rumors of Call of Duty might be headed to the Switch,
right?
Can I handle on my Switch the same amount of control and flexibility that I could on an Xbox, I could on a PlayStation?
The Pro Controller, or whatever they call it now.
But I'm even saying not graphics, but the connectability of what if do you have to then, if I'm going to play online, I have to have it docked? I can't undock it and then walk around with it.
I don't see why you
connected
wouldn't be
to other.
able to,
But
really.
I'm just saying
as long as you got the good connection for the wireless.
Yeah.
Because I'm bringing in the guys who, Dave, I know you did this, not saying you're a cheater or anything. It's just what you were used to.
Yep.
Of, hey, PlayStation, I'm going to plug in mouse and keyboard and play Overwatch that way.
So much better.
Where are we going to have that kind of a situation in Xbox, PlayStation versus Nintendo Switch? For a game I'm going to say Fortnite, I don't see a big problem with it because you look at the game itself, it's a lot dumbed down and simpler than a Call of Duty that has, now they have so many buttons. I'm going to jump on this wall and run through it and jetpack up, and you're flipping through tons of weapons. You got a grenade, you got this, you got that. And I know Fortnite has the grenade and flipping weapons, but
it's building, and
it's
they've got a
much
lot of
more.
stuff.
I feel like the button structure for Fortnite is a lot more condensed than a Call of Duty, who's got a lot more mobility things that could be a Switch. And now it just comes down to what game do you want to play? And for me, that's why I think Sony was eventually screw it, let's do it. Because I would feel like they are sitting there going, we got the better games. Spider-Man just hit it out of the park.
Yep.
we got the better games, so why not just do it? We got nothing to be afraid of now.
And I think there's no reason why third parties can't make their own controllers for these systems to balance things out.
But then you got to buy a whole nother
Nobody
controller.
wants Mad Catz controllers.
But here's the thing.
You had one
if you
for the
get,
GameCube.
I had
the worst.
I had one for PS2.
It was always like, when
it
your
was
friend
cool,
comes
it was
over,
red.
it's like, yeah, go ahead. You get to deal with this,
Yeah, you
this
get the-
block thing.
But I mean, if you're somebody who
My
got a
hand
game
is
like Fortnite for free, and for some reason you wanted that,
Yeah.
you had it for free. You can spend
Yeah.
the money on that. Or, you know, if you really care about playing Call of Duty, you're probably going to make the $30, $40, $50 investment to be better at it. If people are willing to pay tutors, like we talked about,
true.
You know, episode
Fortnite tutors.
ago,
Yep.
you're going to pay for this.
No, I think it's a bit too much to say that like the controller difference between the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the Switch Pro controller, 'cause that's what I would say people would probably end up using.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any competitive balance issues there. I think the problem is if they ever look to include, you know, PCs, and at which point,
And they should.
but everyone knows it's a known, it's a fact, it's indisputable that mouse keyboard is going to be better for shooters. Like, you can't argue. Same for RTSs. Like, you can't StarCraft on a PlayStation. Like, I'm sorry, there are some games that just won't crossplay. But when it comes to that, I wonder, is there a line in the sand at PC? Because Activision and Blizzard are talking about how, well, you know, we'd love to do this stuff for like Destiny, Black Ops. We've done it for Hearthstone across multiple platforms. They've gone mobile. They do, you know, the Switch. Like, they do a little bit of everything. So, like, you know, I'm just tossing out there, like, maybe there should be something in that, right? In those.
You're talking cross-compatible with computers. No.
From computer to PC.
I
mean, Xbox
I don't see
and
why
PC
not.
do.
I don't see why not.
Xbox and PC
the
do,
reason
though.
why I'm
so-
immediately like, no, I don't like that is on the, I'm going to think Overwatch first because that's
Yep.
the easiest. If I'm playing competitive on Overwatch, I don't want someone to have all right, I'm playing against this person with PC.
Yeah.
You have a competitive advantage over me because you're using mouse and keyboard
Well, I
and
mean-
I'm limited to a controller.
Yeah, you can be uneducated and think that we're even.
No, I'm saying so. I'm not like
I
that's the
know,
thing.
I know,
Like,
I'm just tossing
and
out
I've
there.
had that problem. Like when people are like, "Oh, well, Xbox and PC." Well, no, you shouldn't do that because if it's like quick play, whatever, screw it. It don't matter. But like, if you're gonna have competitive modes,
Yeah.
those competitive modes should not mix. Like PlayStation and Xbox are kind of apples to apples. Where if you're throwing a PC in there, you're throwing an orange into that apple bin, and I don't want that orange in there because that
I do.
orange might be a little bit better than the
sounds
apples
delicious.
around it.
I don't know. I don't really see that big of an issue. And I can understand why it would be an issue if we're talking MLG, you know, or these college E teams and stuff like that. Legitimately competitive
Well, I
ones.
mean,
I can see that.
let's be
but
honest,
For
the
all these
guy-
other ones, I don't know.
The guys and girls who play competitive on Overwatch, you're only playing competitive because you care about your score. You care about your rank at the end of the day. And if it's not going to be fair, then when I lose a match and I have to lose rank and I get bumped out of whatever league I'm in,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be happy.
You
I
know
mean,
what's
of
gonna
course, there's
happen.
no way to know who on the other
That's
team
what
is
I was
not.
gonna say.
But I mean,
All you're going to do is
But-
have people blaming that for every time they
but
lose.
If they come out and say, yeah, PCs are going to be mixed in, I'm never going to think that, oh, well, I'm always going to think there's someone with a PC on that team. And plus, there are smart people out there that will figure it out, who will screen capture, will watch the kill cams and stuff and be like, all right, this is a PC guy. Just because of how their screen can move.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, when you would play Symmetra on
sensitivity.
PC to PlayStation, you could run circles around
Absolutely.
a Reinhardt. But on PC, it's like, nope, turn, kill.
Yeah, no, the mouse sensitivity, the ability to crank up the sensitivity and turn and still have great control on a mouse and keyboard is different than joysticks. Like, you can't keep up. One of the interesting things is, like, Epic Games, before Fortnite really was their jam, I actually played their former game, Paragon.
Yeah.
And that was a game with crossplay. That was PC to Xbox. And I might even be PS4. I'm not even 100%. I remember playing on PC and grouping up with people on consoles. And it wasn't bad. Like, it was a MOBA. It was kind of like League of Legends, but like a different point of view, similar to Smite. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that game. But they actually had to close it down because of the success of Fortnite. And like, look, this is our jam. This is how we're making money. There's not a reason to keep devs on Paragon. It was a great idea. It was a cool thing. But like MOBAs and that sort of gameplay is not anywhere close to success as what we saw in
remember when
Fortnite.
everybody tried to make their own MOBA?
Yep.
That ended fast.
It did. It did. Well, I mean, it was like about probably a 6-year period. I mean, they were pretty much king of the hill. But yeah, so like they have some experience in this, and I think that because Xbox and PC have that Microsoft connection for Windows, they're like, hey, we already kind of have an edge on this. I'm thinking that a team like Activision with Blizzard can go in there and lay the groundwork for this, and we can all kind of see these big guys at the table together being like, this is how we move forward gaming. This is what we can do. And I understand your concerns about the competitive level, and maybe
all games are different too. Like a game like Fortnite, I'm gonna jump in. I'm just having a good time. Like I'm not trying.
I mean, there's tournaments, and
of course you want to try to be the last one surviving, but it's not like ooh, I lost that game and we're out of the top 10. My skill rank is gonna fall. We're in most competitive
rankings, isn't there,
no,
Fortnite?
but it's not like I feel like when I played it.
I haven't played a single game.
It
But
wasn't like
that's just your preference.
yeah, it wasn't like that
Where I'm
Overwatch
sitting
where it's like I'm
there-
trying to get to the highest
Where I'm
league.
sitting there for Overwatch and saying, I don't give a fuck. Like,
Well, and that's it. If it's like, even like if Overwatch, if they were like, all right, in quick play, you get a mosh posh of everybody, but in competitive, we're still going to keep it
Server
PCs
separate.
over here and consoles over here, then I'm fine with that. Like the competitive thing is my only little bugaboo. And the question that I'll kind of throw out there is people are asking this, like the other podcast that I listen to, they had a fan ask it. It says, does the cross-platform play for Fortnite set an unrealistic standard for the industry?
I think it's going to set a new standard. I don't think it's unrealistic. I think it just it will. The market requires time to change,
Like
adapt
that,
to
is
change.
Like, is it
You
going
can't
to work
just say
for everybody?
it's not. It's not. I think that, like you said, certain games are going to excel at this. Certain games are not, and they will be kept platform specific. But it's not going to be an overnight thing. We're going to see, obviously, Fortnite's the big one everyone wants to talk about because it's the biggest game in the world right now. But beyond that, beyond these, like, we literally mentioned, like, 4 games, 5 games maybe, out of, like, a library of, like, thousands. I don't think we're going to see, by 2019, we're going to see a handful, a sprinkling, because it will take time for devs to develop answers, for either servers to be, changed up so they can accept Xbox and PC and PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. Like, there is so much back-end infrastructure that needs to be fixed, and then there's dev time that needs to be fixed, and then there's rollout. So, like, I'm looking at this realistically saying, like, 2019, we're going to have maybe 5 games. Maybe 10.
this might be a next-gen thing.
Oh, exactly. Like, I totally forgot next gen's a thing. We're not PS4 forever. We're not Xbox One forever.
You know who should have been?
They'll put up the groundwork now.
But
and
that's
then
actually
go
really
for
smart
it.
because we've seen some specs for things, but it's still in the phases where it's like nothing's locked in. We can still make some tweaks to make sure that everybody is on a similar playing field.
You know who should have been doing this like yesterday?
Who?
EA.
Ooh.
Like Madden, NHL, all the sports games, like
Definitely.
2K, MLB the Show. Well, not MLB the Show. That's only PlayStation. But like,
But
all
why
the
is
EA,
it only PlayStation?
Because
It's
that's
2K.
It's a
it rules.
PA exclusive. No, MLB the Show is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like 2K, EA, they should have been doing it yesterday.
Yeah.
Like there is no reason why Madden shouldn't be crossed between PlayStation and Xbox.
No, I totally agree.
They just don't want to.
Totes
Essentially.
agree.
I mean, and that's exactly what it is. It's that those are the type of games that can keep that longevity. But for a game like Madden, the reason why they probably don't want to do is they don't want to invest the time in it because Madden 2K, it's one and done
It's
every
a template.
year.
They know exactly what to do. They know what boxes to check.
Right,
They're not
so they
ripping
don't
down
really
the
care.
infrastructure of Madden, 17 to build
Well,
18.
And plus, a big thing in the past might have been, oh, well, we can't do that because we got to give people of course, it wouldn't give people a reason to buy an Xbox if it's on both systems. You're just going to play wherever your friends
That's
are.
true.
But that is kind of like an underlying thing. And if we're taking that away now at Fortnite, then why can't a game like Madden that's on both
They should.
be cross-platform?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like a game like Destiny, I think would have been a bigger hit than it was. And I know there were there's all these problems with Destiny. I'm not gonna get into that today.
They gotta fix their party system first.
But yeah, like if they had nailed on that party system, being able to play from Xbox to PlayStation and having that ability, like I had friends who were Xbox like only, and they were huge on it, and they're still playing it. And I don't understand because they're still complaining about it on the daily, but they still drop so many hours, so much money into this game, and it's like I would love to play with you guys for a bit, but I'm not buying a system just to play with you.
Or like because you and I, only 2 people I knew that played Destiny. If you weren't playing Destiny, I was like, great, I'm going to be on my own. Oh, wait, I need a group for this? Well, guess I'm going to wait here until someone comes by. Cool, you're doing it. Now I'm going to do it. Whereas in any other game, it's like pull up the looking for group and found you.
I mean, hell, Borderlands had a looking for group back in fucking 2010? Whatever year it came out in. Like, that actually had it built in. So, like, oh my God, Borderlands. Borderlands would be great for this, though. Think about it, because it's not graphic intensive. It's not ultra competitive. It's great storytelling. Infinite, like, dungeon loot, basically, of RNG.
And they've had co-op. You know, they've been such a great co-op game forever.
Exactly. And they do basically that looking for group. It kind of tells you, it's like, hey, these people are on this quest. Let's join together. Let's attach you to their game server, and you're good to go, and you play. And that's it. It was pretty seamless back in the day. So, like, imagine that going forward. Holy shit, I'm going to ask for it now. I know the game's in, like, final production. But...
You were close. It's October of 2009.
Oh, shit. That's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
So fourth quarter of
I remember it was like
2009.
when I was it was like my freshman year of college, basically. So
it would have been the end of our freshman, or the beginning of our sophomore year.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It should be. I mean, this would be a nice little thing, but the problem is when we talk about next gen.
How far is it?
No, we got to remember that for next gen, these guys got to sell their consoles. And are you going to sell? That's their debate. Are you going to sell a console if you're giving them a reason why you can play the other console? You know, and that was the thing of like, that's the debate. Does it make people more likely to buy your console if they have the option to play with their friends on different ones? Because now you can kind of, you know, everybody in this room here, we have PlayStation 4. You know, part of the reason we have PlayStation 4 is because everybody in this room has a PlayStation 4. You know, does it make me more likely to say, well, I'll go get an Xbox then because I can still play with you guys?
Yeah.
You know, for me personally, no, because I want the exclusives on PlayStation. But does that do it, or you know, is it going to make you lose or gain people? And that's the hard part. That's what they're going to debate, because they're not going to do something if it means they're not going to sell consoles.
Well, I mean, at this time, it's just basically, and I'm coming back to it, if this is going to be the future, then it might be, hey, you know what? Our next gen, if this is coming into it, we got to make sure we have those exclusive games.
Yeah,
that's just going to blow the other one out.
Microsoft didn't.
Because
this time around.
when you come out with that game, you're basically going to be able to have to say, this is what you get day one. You can't promise people because they make that purchase right away. Like, for example, me, the next PlayStation, and then never touch the other one. There's not many people.
So
the Switch can just sit there and go, yeah, we don't care if you're either or. You can play us too. We're a good party system, because I feel like they would be the second one before like an Xbox.
They
or
overlap
PlayStation.
over everything. They've got one of the best market shares. For me, I wonder, does this mean it's the resurgence of the single player game, because we're talking exclusives and crossplay? So like that's I see the line is, okay, if we're getting crossplay for multiple games in the future, does that not mean that exclusives are now like, I could see Sony paying up huge to bring in a specific game dev company to roll out something truly amazing,
like they did for Spider-Man, kind of.
Well, they already.
Like,
I mean, they already do. Sony does.
Well, that's
Microsoft
what I'm saying. Like,
doesn't.
Do you think that puts the pressure on Microsoft? Do you think that then...
It depends, because it's going to be that. You know, what is the market going to do for it? If crossplay means people are going to play online more often because they can play with more people, more friends, then it's going to be more advantageous for the developers of games to keep doing online crossplay type of games. You know, because that's where people are spending their money. Where right now we're in this phase where we've been moving away from single player experiences.
It's true.
And this might be a thing that continues down that path, which personally I don't like. But I understand it if it's what's going to make more money for the developers. I get why they want to do it. But the console side, you're right. They might need that thing that's going to sell their consoles.
War.
That's why, Sony's always had great first parties. Microsoft has good first party developers too. They just kind of haven't really done it they tremendously on this generation.
And we talked about a little bit at E3 when they went out and I think they signed 10 different studios to Microsoft contracts, basically saying, we're going to invest in ourselves and we're going to invest in the future of this.
Yeah.
And what I wonder is, like, in the next 10 years, like in the next gen, are we seeing the end of separation of consoles? Do you think that we're going to, like, Sony and Xbox consoles are basically going to be like, one of you two is not going to survive this? And I'm going to be blatant and say, I don't think Xbox has a next generation after this one. I think that we're looking to the point where it's like, we're looking at computers. We're saying it doesn't matter how you get there, it's you're playing the game. I think that it might get blown wide open.
I was ready to say no until I finished, right when you were like, will they, because I thought you were going to say, will they combine, which I was shaking my head no. But now that you phrased it that way, I could totally see it being like Xbox dissolves, goes away because they just can't compete. PlayStation is the only one, but then the Switch is still there because Nintendo,
they control the handheld market. They can control that.
The party games, the Nintendo exclusive games have this special. I don't even know how to call it.
That's family friendly.
PlayStation and Xbox
It is
don't.
ageless. It is something that's timeless.
It hits even when a new Zelda game comes out, just hits the nostalgia chime right on the button.
And you got to look at the worldwide market too, because that's more important than just America's market.
Yeah.
And Sony knocks it out of the park with worldwide. Not that there aren't people all over the world playing Xboxes, but Sony just blows them out of the water. The thing though I say is, when it comes to that investment, if you're truly going to invest in a powerful enough PC to play these games, because they just keep getting better and better and better, and you got to upgrade and things like that sometimes.
Yep.
It's a high enough barrier to entry. Not that $300, $400 isn't a big barrier to entry as well, but it's a high enough barrier that I can't imagine Microsoft letting go of this, of the console that they have, because it's just easier. You're going to completely give up a market to Sony when we know that people buy consoles. There's no way that Microsoft's going to say, yeah, that's fine. You guys can have these.
Well, you got to remember how small Microsoft's fraction of their company is focused on gaming,
which is true. But
so it's not their jam, and Sony the same thing. So again, it's both.
I just can't imagine them giving up the entire American marketplace.
I think that by the end of the next gen console, we're gonna see it'll be a different world, because we already talked about the potential for streaming games taking over, and that being something that we really look at as, why do I need to have my game saved here? I can jump online anywhere, play the game, don't worry about it. I think that that's another thing. You could see NVIDIA's testing out their Shield system. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's an NVIDIA product that basically is similar to Apple TV or I think Apple TV is probably the best comp, but it's more focused towards the gaming crowd. It has a bunch of apps, I think Android app store, I want to say, and you can bring in a bunch of different stuff. You can play different things. But I think that things like that could get easier to spin up, because you're not going to rely on having all the massive internals of a console. If I can just give you something that can connect to the internet and has the ability to put out a great gameplay on the screen, then you've got all you need for the future of consoles.
Definitely.
I don't know that we're going to need these, giant
But Microsoft
things.
Would jump on that. Sony would jump on it. If that's the way consoles were going, they would just do it.
Yeah.
But
does that open up the marketplace for other things?
It probably does.
If we go crossplay on a couple platforms, and then say, I know this is very hypothetical down the line, 10 years maybe, but if we hit that point where it's everything can be streamed online, doesn't matter what platform you get there from, you can play it. It either opens the door for everybody to make something, or it slams the door shut and saying that neither one of you has a market share anymore, because it's so flooded and it doesn't matter anymore. Why would I choose this over that? I'm just going to take whatever gets me there cheapest, because you all do the same. Quality-wise, can we argue there's a spec difference between the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro, like, minute. We're talking very minute. And it's always a game of one-upsmanship, and I don't know that, I think at some point we're going to hit that point where it doesn't matter.
I just can't imagine still these companies really ever leaving or not being part of it. But I can see somebody else trying to make their play and squeeze in. Because, I mean, honestly, yeah, Microsoft's a huge company, but the Xbox was their first console that they had. There was a time where they did not have a gaming console, and now they do.
I remember when that first got pro mode, it was like, wait, the company that makes computer programs is now gonna make a gaming system for fun. Yeah, I don't know if I trust that, but it killed it. Yeah, it was one of the coolest things.
And that's exactly what can happen for anybody, whether it was Amazon trying to do it. I forgot the Ouya or whatever that one that failed. So people will try and do it, and eventually, honestly, probably one will be
when the technology is
successful.
there to support it. I think that the demand for crazy specs and overbuilt systems doesn't matter anymore.
The problem that we're going to have, like you said, we're looking really far in the future for this because we have issues with the FCC. We have issues with legislation being passed. There's parts
network speeds in America are terrible.
I was gonna say there are parts of the country where they can't play games online. It just doesn't really work out for them.
There's no infrastructure.
I mean, honestly, we are right here in Chicago, and you only have to drive about 40 minutes to get to places where the internet speeds are terrible.
Like you're on satellite.
Yeah,
you're straight up on satellite. You can, So that's a very good point, Mark. I think that there's a lot of things that might need to. I mean, technology grows quickly, but there's a lot of things that aren't technology related that are potentially holding this up between obviously infrastructure and legality that out of our hands. Ricky, what are your thoughts on this?
Right now, I am yet again broken record, but it's because I'm looking into it and kind of like what you were saying. I'm going to go back a little bit to when you were saying one of these, PlayStation or Xbox, might not exist. And for me, it's going to be interesting when we do get to the next gen, if crossplay is becoming more of a thing, all right, go back to the exclusives. And what I'm just looking at right now is just scrolling through the ones for 2017.
Right.
First off, PlayStation had 103 in 2017. Xbox had, or is this 2018? Yeah, this is 2017. So it's a little outdated. But 67 for Xbox One. PlayStation titles are like, they brought back the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. You had Death Stranding that's going to be on PlayStation. You've got Dreams that people are excited about. That's the VR one.
Yeah.
You've got things like the Uncharted franchise. You've got things like The Last of Us. You've got Kingdom Hearts, MLB The Show, to where I wonder if crossplay, if it becomes a thing where you look at Xbox, it's more of like Cuphead, Halo. I see things like Sea of Thieves, Hello Neighbor, PUBG. And the thing I look at is, one, most of the exclusives that jump out to me on Xbox, if you gave me the decision, like Cuphead, I just play it on computer. Hello Neighbor, I'll just play it on computer.
Well, that's the debate on if a Xbox exclusive is actually exclusive or not.
Because you can play it on computer.
Not.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you say PC instead of computer. It really, for some reason, my brain
PC.
I want to play it on
computer.
Play on
computer.
Yeah.
The thing that I look into too is, let's just take Halo for an example. Is Xbox exclusive like Halo? Is that like, oh, Grandpa used to play Halo, like? Where nowadays it's like the Uncharted's, the PlayStation exclusives feel newer. Plus, for the sports community, how many people go, hey man, I really like playing Madden, but I love baseball, and I've been itching for a baseball game.
Yeah.
I'm moving over to PlayStation.
I didn't realize that they just had no games for baseball that are legitimate over there.
Yeah, it's rough. I will say, though, Uncharted's old, too. I mean, you say that Halo's a great game.
Some of these storied franchises.
But, when when the Nathan Fillion thing came out, there was and I know there's fanboys for everything, is the Uncharted fan group not even more populated? Is it a stronger group than the Halo group.
No, I
No,
don't
not
believe
even
that at all.
close.
Yeah, Halo has a much stronger
Like
fan base.
when you mention popular fan bases in gaming, it's pretty much Call of Duty, Halo.
But
Like,
I'm not.
Those are the two
I'm
big
not
boys
saying, like-
in the console world.
I'm not saying like Halo's not in the top 5, top 2. I'm not having that debate. But is it when we get through more of these exclusives for PlayStation, like a Spider-Man who's newer, whereas a new gamer, let's say a younger high school kid, might not want to jump into that Halo because, I don't have the same connection to Halo 1, 2, and 3 that someone who's older and our age
I mean,
might
if it's
have
not as good quality as the old nostalgia, we're more likely to overlook that.
Yeah.
Because we've got that love for the franchise. So like,
oh man, I remember playing the first one.
if a new
it was
game,
awesome.
if a new game is like bombing out there as far as critical, then maybe. By the way, I just doing a little more reading out there. They're gonna open up PC and mouse on Xbox in a month. Like it's coming and it's title by title, but that shit's going down. So like you were talking about competitive play, like that's gonna rocket once things happen.
Okay, then that would kill. You can't do PlayStation to Xbox for me in competitive play because if you can use a keyboard and mouse and I can't.
Like I said, it's going to be title by title, so they're not forcing on every game.
No,
I think it's
know,
gonna be up to the
but
devs.
I'm just saying, like if it's a competitive game, then to me that would kill crossplay.
I know. I'm just excited because the first game that they're looking at doing is a game that I liked and I didn't get to play enough of. And I keep scrolling for the name because I'm literally staring at the article and I can't read it.
I don't even have a
I
guess.
just looked at Mark.
I hate you guys.
Don't even have a guess.
No. Warframe.
Warframe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's
the
a
game
super
you were like, hey
fast-paced
Ricky,
game.
you should download, and then we never played together.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
Dave does that a lot to me, by the way. Hey Ricky, download this game
'Cause he
we'll
knows
play
you'll do
for
it.
it a little bit.
But you don't download when I tell you to.
No,
you
I
download
did.
like 3 weeks later,
No,
and then
I
I'm
did.
like, I don't care about this game anymore.
I did, and it was like because we went over to your house and played the Warframe, and I was like, okay, I downloaded it, and you were like, and I'm done with that. It's like, but it was a day.
You gotta hit me, strike when the iron's hot, man.
like wow. At least we got to play WoW.
We play WoW
Yeah,
a
we
lot,
do.
actually. And I rated WoW. WoW update for the week, by the way, boys.
It's dead.
My guild is, I want to say 4 out of 6. 4 out of 6 in heroic, but they are splitting, losing
Your
members
guild
because
or you?
my former guild. The guild I'm in, I'm just not rating. But they are splitting up because of dramas. Not everybody, but someone made some racist comments.
Shocker that would happen.
Yeah, someone made some racist comments. Things went south real quick. A couple people are leaving. Guild dramas. Gonna keep you guys up to date on that as we
idiot
go.
stuff.
Seriously, the
nothing
most
new than
immature people. But it's hard. That community is so weird. But wrapping up this whole conundrum of crossplay and the future of gaming and what's best for these, do you think that at the end of the day, crossplay for any do you think that it is a net benefit and should be forced? Like devs should be forced to do it. Do you think that any dev can be like, no, I'm only building this multiplayer game for this system? Do you think that that's going to be okay? Because I think that that might have a lot of splashback and people being like, I really designed it for this. I want this community to have this.
Depends on what game is it. If it's like a game like Fortnite, then no. But if it's a game like I could still see Call of Duty.
What if Gears comes out and is like, we're staying Xbox only. If you want Gears, you come to Xbox.
I mean, I could see that, but it's
Well,
like
I think that's a little bit different than crossplay, though.
you're talking about exclusive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, 'cause that's
getting rid of the
well, no,
exclusive
I think
title.
that I think is once crossplay is open, I think exclusives are going to be very premium, and I don't know if they're going to stay exclusive because of the ability to
Well,
crossplay.
that's a first party studio.
It comes
Yeah.
off to
So I mean,
contracts
that one's
too.
owned by Microsoft. That doesn't get to
But
be.
do you think that they'd like to sell, PlayStation
Oh, I'm
copies?
sure they would because it's more money, but they get that investment.
Okay, so
from
maybe Gears is a
Microsoft.
bad example.
Yeah,
But third party.
What about MLB The Show? Because they're
Sure.
one that's not owned by Sony, I believe.
I thought they were.
Was it? Maybe
thought
that's
they
why.
were.
'Cause
Everybody is this way for a reason.
I know. I couldn't say Spider-Man because Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man.
But let's just. I think what the example that we're trying to get is, let's say that the new Call of Duty comes out. It doesn't matter which one of the 3 developers is making it.
Yep.
Call of Duty World War 7 comes out.
Yeah.
And
they're like, I just want.
And they say, no, you Xbox people play on Xbox. You Sony people, you play on your PlayStation. You guys will not get to play together. Switch, you stay over there. None of you play together.
Yep.
I think that's more in line of what.
No, that's cross-based, straight up. Like that's exactly what we're talking about. I like going hypothetical on this shit.
Yeah.
Like
I
I'm
don't
getting to the
think
point where I'm like,
I don't think
I'm
the
thinking
exclusives are
crossplay
getting
is going to lead
touched.
into exclusives, is going to lead into
Yeah.
the death of a console, perhaps.
PlayStation people still aren't going to play Gears, and Xbox people still can't play The Last of Us 2.
Like crossplay won't do that. Like it won't kill things. But crossplay might be...
I think it's a step in the direction. That's what I'm pitching.
It might create more. So, like, we don't see that 2017 number of 100 for PlayStation, but only half the number for Xbox, where it'll be, all right,
I hope
of
they
these
learn their
studios
lesson.
are putting out over 100 exclusives a year, and it's making sure we got to make sure that our exclusives are better than their exclusives so people come to our system.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And that's the lesson that I think Sony learned as the underdog in the last generation, where the only reason Sony sold consoles was because they had good exclusive games.
They had the worst system by far.
Yeah, because I had an Xbox 360 because of multiple reasons. My friends were playing it. It was cheaper. And they had games that I wanted to play. But then all of a sudden, it was like there was a good Black Friday deal. And you know what? Uncharted looks pretty cool. I think I want to play that.
Good move.
And then I got a PlayStation. And all of a sudden, it was like, well, they got this game. They got that game. They had all these exclusives that I wanted to play. And it was like, this is awesome. PlayStation 4 is coming around. And then the Xbox One, of course, but PlayStation 4, by that time, it had the games I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And it really is that simple most of the time. So I can't see those exclusives going away, but I think Sony learned their lesson of, like, the exclusives are the only reason we survived that generation.
Yep.
Where Xbox One is going to, or Xbox 2, whatever it's going to be, is going to be saying, hey, we got to do what those guys did. And that's what, like, from this E3, having all these new developers to be first-party developers or at least have exclusive deals, looks like they learned their lesson and they're going to make that jump. So that way, I'm willing to bet next gen comes around for Xbox, they're going to say, look at all of our exclusives.
Nice.
That's got to be what they do.
Nice.
They don't have a choice.
Well, it's like, I think of the same thing Mark said, was I had a PlayStation not only because, like, MLB The Show was one of the big exclusives, but, like, I'm just looking at some of the exclusives on the PlayStation Store, and it's just like, you look at ones like Detroit Become Human, you look at ones like Until Dawn, you look at ones like The Last of Us, to where most of these exclusives are, yes, they're single-player games, so that's another debate, but it's more of a, hey, I'm going to be Marvel here, we're just going to tell a really good story here, get people involved in this story, and that's going to make them buy it and then stick around, because on the next gen, we're going to have Last of Us 2, and you're going to want to play Last of Us 2 because you love The Last of Us #1. Yeah.
Yeah, success will build a franchise. Like, I guarantee you, a lot of games get put out, with the hopes that they'll get picked up for a second. But you never know. You never know. If it sells bad, they're not going to buy a second, version of it. So.
Well, they was supposed to, I only say because I see it right there, the order 18 something.
1886.
86. Yep. There was supposed to be more of those, and it didn't really sell. So,
exactly.
And when it did, it was people who weren't happy about it. So they were like, yeah, no.
Meanwhile, we've got Assassin's Creed 17,
Exactly. Yeah,
it all depends.
It all depends on what sells.
Exactly. Well, that just about wraps it up for us here at Too Old to Game. Thank you for joining us. If you have any comments, questions, or you want to jump into this conversation, leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to support us, you can check us out on Patreon. You can donate any tier. We'd be lucky to have you. And if you hit that $10 tier, you do get to join us or any other MVP podcast out there for one episode a month. And if you want to keep in contact with us, we are very active on the Twitter sphere. I don't think anyone said the word
Except
Twitter
for
spin
Dave.
like a decade ago.
Dave don't tweet.
Dave don't tweet.
That
You
dear
can follow me.
That dear Twitter device.
I would like to build up a following because I think that would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
You never tweet, but you have followers.
Yeah,
You do have followers.
I do. I got a couple. I'd like to keep that growing. So if you're sticking it out, go ahead and check out my Twitter, Dave _ don't _ tweet. I know.
I just love
he
the
don't.
underscore.
Yep. All right.
You actually do have 24 followers. I
That's
thought
pretty
it was,
fucking
I thought it
good.
was less than that.
That's
wow.
pretty good. Thank you guys.
Damn.
Thank you. And I'm only following one person. Well, part of one person.
Yeah. You have the only person you're following is Diana Taurasi's bun.
Yeah. Not Diana Taurasi. Her bun. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Hope you had a great time.